Thank you for being a friend. Oh, yeah. So we started from the bottom, now we're here, girl. Oh, yeah. Are you recording this?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going. I'll dance in Skeletors with you. Here you go.
Oh.
Victor, giving you back up.
Oh, I like it. And if you do a party and invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. And the card of thanks would say, thank you for being a friend. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you. You guys want to cut a quick intro that I can stick in the front of this?
Yeah, we can do that. I don't even know what we were going to say.
Just like an opening to the show.
Of course.
He's back.
I know,
and enjoy a
on,
conversation with Joe Pruett from Aftershock Comics.
That's it, right there. There it is.
That's all we needed.
It's perfect.
It's crap.
But I was gonna say it's a different time. Like we're all gonna have to put in a different level of effort than we've ever done before,
exactly,
in order to create a norm going forward. So that's gonna be some colorful stuff.
And guys, you might simply do this every once in a while, but it's a root beer.
Listen, I'm just jealous that I didn't think to bring some myself. So
we're in the middle of a pandemic. It could be a bottle of vodka.
Right, like literally, no one would judge you at all.
I should just mess my hair up, and
I mean, we won't tell them that it's 8 o'clock in the morning and you're.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm still drinking from last night. And when we did that shirt, the Read Dangerous shirt, I didn't realize, that we're actually ahead of the game.
Literally.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where like I shouldn't wear this. I feel like I'm dooming us all.
Very dangerously. Yeah. I don't have a mask on.
We're in a safe space. We're good.
I'm going to the comic shop.
That's one of the weird things, because in my life there has never been, like, since I started going regularly, there's never been multiple weeks in a row where there's just nothing.
Right.
Like the week of 9/11, I think there was a skip week.
Yeah.
Since then, like, I don't know. It's really, really strange to me. I'm still wrapping my head around, and I want to say I really appreciate what Aftershock is doing in terms of standing by stores and by holding off on digital releases. So that you can crack. That's something that as a store owner I really truly appreciate.
No problem. Yeah, we're not printing anything right now either. I mean, everything else we're business as usual.
Right.
We're not telling creators to quit working. We're still taking submissions. We have a call tomorrow with like 20 submissions to go through.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Matter of fact, I'm actually reaching out to friends and creators I know. Say, look, guys, if you have pencils down, we don't. And so if you need some cash, now's the time to do it. So one thing I'm doing is I'm suggesting to people, especially people who have work on hold but will have to go back to it. I kind of like what Black Label has done, like the format, or either the prestige format or the oversized format, the size, the 48 page stories. I'm saying, give me some of those. Give me some 40-page stories. I'll do as one shots. So you can do that right now and get paid.
Right.
And then that way it's not a big commitment for them. And then when the other jobs come back, they can go back and do that, but they can just already have done this for us in the meantime to keep them working.
That's beautiful. I actually was just talking to Mike Martz right before everything kind of shut down, and was setting up to put a pitch in, but then was like, okay, everything's kind of going a little crazy. Let me fall back and see exactly where things are. So it's really a good testament to Aftershock and the structure and framework that you guys are working with, that you haven't had to go pencils down, whereas other publishers aren't able to necessarily maintain a production schedule because the distribution line has been interrupted. That says a lot about you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And interestingly enough, we've had a reputation in the past, sometimes be slow paying on occasion when, money gets, tight or whatever. But
Right.
the reality is now we are actually, I don't know if I want to use the word flush. When this started, all of a sudden we did have influence of money come in.
Right.
So now anybody we've ever owed money to, or whatever, they're totally paid up.
Nice.
So a lot of places we've become where we were the villain for a little bit there because we were owing people money. So all of a sudden we're the hero because we're paying you when you need it.
Right.
And again, offering people, hey, look, come to us right now. We actually make sure you get paid quickly.
That's awesome.
Need work.
Now, in terms of that, though, and forgive me for hogging the questions, Rye.
No, you're good.
as a publisher, you're predominantly working with creator-owned materials, but you guys still offer a rate on top of that. And I think that's one of the things that from a business standpoint and a creative professional standpoint is one of the biggest things that sets you apart from an Image Comics, if you will, that, while it is creator-owned, they have to really kind of maintain their own financial structure to get the work produced. Why is it that you guys wanted to do something a little bit more, we'll call it helpful to the creatives?
Well, I think because Aftershock set up, we're kind of like a mix between a traditional indie comic and a traditional, corporate comic company.
Right.
Where, with Mike and myself, and then Christina, who came in later, we have all professional editors, the publishers and stuff. So instead of like said Image, which I love Image Comics, but the Image, you're kind of on your own as a creator. So you put the thing together and you send it up to them, and don't have a lot of editorial or direction from that side, unless you basically go hire your own editor. So we're set up. Actually, we are an editorial staff. We will read all the scripts. We will give you notes and feedback as needed, and you're not on your own. So in that way, we are that type of company, but we are going after the creator-owned projects. So we're an independent company as well. So I think we're a good happy medium there.
Absolutely. And actually in a way that I don't think that anyone before you ever thought that there really was going to be that sort of middle ground of transition where you do get to be creatively free, but you still have that editorial help to make sure it's the best work that you're putting out.
Yeah, and actually you don't have to do it on the side either.
Right.
Because we can pay a competitive page rate. This could be as you're an artist especially, this could be your only gig.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you can make a living and not have to wait for several months after you've completed the work to potentially get some cash in.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. When early on in Aftershock, were you guys going to creators, and have you turned a corner to where creators are coming to you now with ideas?
Well, obviously, at the beginning stages, Aftershock, realized we didn't have Batman or Spider-Man or Superman to start the company. We realized we needed the name recognition. So we needed somebody like, hey, we're Aftershock. We're over here. Look at us. We have Brian Azzarello, we have Paul Jenkins, we have Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. So Warren Ellis, we needed attention. So that's why, we always want to work with the best as well. As time has gone on, we still will work with that caliber of creator. But at the same time, we're also looking for those new voices that we can actually help, build an audience and grow with them.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the smartest things I think I've ever seen, where, like you said, we don't have Batman, but we've got these people that have worked on Batman. And if you love what they've done, come check us out. And what's even better is, unlike Image, and again, I love them too, but clearly at the onset of Image, what they did was they said, we're known for this thing. And then they repeated that thing for Image. You guys allow them to come in and do something totally different, totally, in their own personal wheelhouse of whatever they wanted. And that made it, hit even harder, even more substantially, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, that's always been my background. Though. When I started off, in publishing, I was on the Caliber Comics, creative director there. So I was always bringing in, Caliber at the time, when I joined Caliber, they were a company where you start your career and moved on. So my idea when I came to Caliber was I'm going to go grab people who already have careers and say, come back and have fun.
Gotcha.
Make your money over there, but come back and do your fun projects here. So I went and got the Garth in it. So I got the Mobius and No Game and whoever. and say, come over here and let's have fun. But at the same time, I was able to find new voices and new talent like a John Cassaday or Mike Maringo, Paul Pope and stuff like that, and bring them up and have their own, do their own material that way. And then they went on and had the career that they have now. And left me behind, but no, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I think if you make that phone call, John will definitely be like, hey, I'll do whatever you want. Whatever you need. Or at least better. How about that?
But when I started Desperado Publishing, the same kind of way. I started Desperado Publishing back, 15 years ago. And I originally started off to be by myself, and then the image said, well, why aren't you with us? I said, well, why should I be? And then we had conversations. I actually did partner with them. But at the same time, I had, a Mike Plug or who did I have it started Desperado? Again, a bunch of known creators. They get to, hey, look at me, I'm over here.
Right. Huh. Oh, that's a smart move.
Yeah, because it's opened. I remember, what was it? Second Sight, I think, was the Aftershock book that 100% hooked me on the brand. Has there been any particular title that you've just sat back and be like, holy crap, this is Aftershock? If that,
well, obviously Black Eyed Kids, but
obviously, yeah. That goes without saying easily.
Yeah.
But a lot of early stuff, American Monster and there's some stuff that came out that was really good that started, just didn't make it, or because again, we were a brand new company at the time and we had to come out and prove ourselves. Mm-hmm. If we launched those titles today, they would have done, I would suspect, specifically more, mm-hmm. and probably lasted longer than they did then. Super Zero was another fun book that we did back in the early days. But as far as like books overall, a book like Shipwreck to me with Warren Ellis's book and Phil Hester. That's I think more a classic abstract type title, because it's like 6 issues and you're done. It's one story. It's beginning, middle, end, and as much as I love ongoing series, I would love to see some more ongoing series. It's tough. It's a tough market. The way the orders are, it's like you start at number 1, and then you're number 2, and then you're 3 and 4. And it's just a constant decline. And so it's really hard to keep a book going, because you can't just we've got Animosity now is on issue 27, which is, again, I think one of our big titles. I said that's an Aftershock title. That's a brand. That book's lasted 27 issues. But again, with declining sales, into the trades do pretty well. The single issues are down and down. And I would love to keep that going for 100 issues, but who knows? I can't. We're not here just to throw money away, because we are paying page rates. So there is, in the day, it's like, how much money are we losing on these books now by keeping it going this long? Because you always hope that you're going to have a Walking Dead effect, which of course is a once in a decade situation, or a Bone effect. Where it does this eventually. That's just not reality today for the most part. It's that one in a million, and we haven't had that 1 in a million yet.
No, I can definitely say that Dark Arc fits into that space too. Of it's growing in the numbers of quantities of issues, but it definitely seems like this is a book that has transitioned where the trade sales
trades do well,
easily eclipse everything that any individual issue does. Is that something that you guys would ever make as part of a potential business model, where you have the first arc as individuals, and then you literally, but then you move into, we'll call it a more like album based releases? I
think I like Dark Arc. When we finally did the hardcover collections for the first 15 issues, since we call it Dark Arc Arc 1.
That's amazing.
So with Dark Arc, for instance, we tried to do a reboot, Dark Arc After the Flood.
Right.
Do a new number 1, which again, I'm not a particularly big fan of doing that.
Right. Reality
is reality.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, when we did that, it actually, boom, that number 1 for After the Flood, it jumped 300% in sales from the last issue of Dark Arc, which, this is great. But what I realized too is that when number 2, Dark Arc After the Flood came out, it was doing what number 16 would have done.
Gotcha.
Originally. So all of a sudden we had a big bump on 1 and then a big drop at 2. Again, it's like, well, that didn't work very well. But a book like, say, Pestilence, where we did 2 different story arcs, a 6-issue arc and then a 5-issue arc, I think. Mm-hmm. That book was a little bit different. Actually, again, number 1, the new series jumped way up. but it actually did a gradual. It didn't just automatically go back to what number 7 would have been.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure a happy medium there. What is going to work? Do we want to keep series going? It's just trying to figure out how to do that.
Right. Right. Now, the range of stories that you guys tell is so wide. Was that a thing that you guys wanted to do? Or you said, okay, we're just going to tell whatever story as long as it's good? Or did you decide that you were going to kind of fit a certain...
Now, you named it right there. It's like we don't care what the genre is. We care about if the story is good. So I get that asked all the time. What are you looking for? I said, a good story.
Right.
You're looking for a crime fiction book. We're looking for a good story. If it's a good story, we'll publish it. So I'm not looking for it to fill a need or a niche anywhere. It's just, again, I don't want to do nothing but sci-fi stories or nothing but horror stories, whatever.
Right.
But we just, it's all about story first.
Rye has a question about a genre-specific area, but I now wonder if the question can be curtailed to say, has no one ever pitched one to you?
Yeah, I think that's a better way to look at it. Because I was going to ask, because there's some of the very few gaps that I see in the genres that you guys have been putting out is all ages. And hearing your description there, has nobody come forward with an all ages story that you're like, okay, yeah, this is
Lost City Explorers, I would say, would be an all ages book.
Okay, yeah.
We have a couple in the pipeline. I would say maybe more all ages. We actually are looking into doing more all age books, but again, it's what gets pitched to us.
Right.
I can go to people and say, give me an all ages story, and maybe that'll work out. What we do have a conscious effort. We do want to do more all ages stuff. Our brand right now, I would think, is a lot more adult oriented.
Right.
And yeah, that's good. That's great and everything. But at the same time, we don't want to limit ourselves to that. So I do think we should do more young adult and all ages books.
Yeah. So in terms of books that you actually like to read, what is it that is on your read pile right now?
Probably My Little Pony. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, Ryan was about to get so excited, like, me too.
It's actually good.
It's really good, I swear.
What's on my
kids comics?
You know what I'm doing here in the pandemic crisis? I've been in a house now for 6-7 weeks now.
Right.
I actually went out today to my storage unit. It's the second time I've been out of my house.
Wow.
Since I've been here. And the other time I went out of my house to take some food and put on my daughter's doorstep and then walk away. I talked to them through the screen.
Man, that's the hardest thing in the world to do, ain't it? Man.
Yeah, no, and I have my 2 grandkids sitting there. They were like, come in. I was like, no, I'm sick. I'm sick. I'm not.
Right.
Matter of fact, my son-in-law actually tested positive for it,
oh, wow.
a few weeks back. So he was there. So I can't come in.
Right.
But it was very mild, and he's already back to work.
Good.
He works in an essential business.
Got you.
So 2 weeks out, right back to work.
Okay.
But that was tough. I was like, no, Papa's sick. I can't come in. So just lie to my grandkid.
I get it.
You guys have viruses. I'm not coming.
Right. You got the cooties. The cooties.
Circle doc, cootie shot. But it didn't work. I tried it. But yeah, I've been reading a lot. I mean, I've been reading novels. What I do is I'll read a novel every night. And then I read like trades or hardcovers during the day, whenever I feel like I have a moment I'm going to read.
Nice.
I'm a hardcover guy, so I've been buying a lot of hardcovers, and I find like some shops, and I say, hey, I know, like say some shops I know are struggling right now. If I'm on the phone with me, I say, hey, do you have such and such? What do you have in hardcovers that you have? And do you have this? Okay, I'll buy that from you if you mail it to me.
Nice.
So I'm waiting for a couple of packages right now that haven't come in yet. But what did I just finish reading? What did I just finish reading? There's something. I've been reading Cerebus again. Cerebus is a comic book in the early 80s. When I was a Marvel zombie growing up.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe 10th or 11th grade, I discovered Cerebus through Bud Plant catalog. I mail ordered that. And then a local comic shop opened up for the first time in my hometown when I was in 11th grade. And I walked in, it was like, oh, because it was like they had all these indie comics, which I had never could get anywhere besides mail order. And Cerebus was one that really got me away from Marvel and Cerebus, and then Pacific Comics at the time, and Eclipse Comics. And we started buying the whole catalogs, my brother and I, who's the publisher at Scout Comics. You should get him on your show too, Jim. And so I love it. I mean, it turned me into an indie fan. And then I remember even in the '90s when I was working at Caliber and stuff, I wasn't really buying any Marvel DC comics. And I was embarrassed by it. You know, I remember going to buy when Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada were doing Daredevil, and I was walking around going, "Is anybody watching me buy this?" You know?
Daredevil. Just put it
yeah.
over here. Just put it over here.
Yeah, which is really funny when I started writing X-Men comics and a couple years later. But again, when I started doing that, it was like, hey, I'm a kid again. I get to play with all these toys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been reading the Cerebus phone books. I have all the issues,
Right.
but I'm much too lazy nowadays, I think. I have my storage unit and pull out every single issue and read one by one.
Get the big thick boy and
yeah. So I've been buying all those in collections. And like I was on the phone with Mark Hammond today, going, "Hey, do you have like the Nexus hardcovers? I'll buy those for you if you have them." Or
that's amazing.
$100. I have them all, but I don't want to go get them in the storage unit and read them as singles anymore. I want to transition to a hardcover state.
Absolutely. Absolutely, that's awesome. I know Gerhard and his wife, and we've done dinner quite a few times, and it's his backgrounds, I swear, are just
amazing.
It's insane, absolutely insane.
I look back and I realize I could have bought some of the original art, and I never did. I didn't have the money then.
Man,
I sure don't have the money now. I
mean, maybe we might know some people. We might be able to do some stuff. Put something together. You mentioned Caliber a few times, and obviously Gary Reed was a huge part of that. Yeah. And in a weird sort of way, like I never quite knew Gary, but I've actually been nominated for the Gary Reed Awards, which was
I didn't vote for you. Sorry.
No, it's quite all right. It's quite all right.
I got nominated for that.
I've been a finalist 2 years. But what are some of the other like really dyed-in-the-wool indie creators that you've worked with in your career? Because I mean, you've worked with some of the best.
Well, go back to Gary real quick. Gary was probably my best friend, so his passing, really affected me a lot.
Of course.
But I always say, Bob Burden, who actually I just remember he called me today. I did call him back. Bob gave me my start in comics. So he hired me as his assistant on Flaming Carrot. But Gary Reed gave me my career. Because when I went to Gary, I took a project to him that was actually originally over at Tundra. With Paul Jenkins as my editor, which is funny, but I ended up at Caliber doing a book called Kilroy Is Here, and it had all kinds of problems to start with, artistic wise. I was working with a real jerk, and but then I started Negative Burn Up, just because I was waiting for my book to get going, and next thing I know, I'm again becoming a talent scout for Caliber, and then going staff at Caliber, and then bring my brother in too with me, his managing editor at Caliber. And what Gary always did, he was like, do what you want. So I said, how about this, Gary? Yep, do it. Go ahead. What about that, Gary? Yep, go ahead, do it. What if I bring these guys in? Okay, no problem, do it. And then it became more of a, who can I get to come in? I remember even one time I actually went to John Cougar Mellencamp, and who was a painter, and I was trying to get him to give me a painting, one of his paintings to use as the cover for Negative Burn. And the funny part of that is, the way I got in touch with him, he never, honestly, I just tell you right now, he never responded to me. But I got in touch with him because my wife's second cousin was in his band when he started up. And so I went through my wife's grandmother, who hunted down his home address for me in Indiana, because my wife's from Indiana too. And so I sent him a care package, and he never got back to me. But hey, what's the worst they can do?
It's a conversation, though. You can say that.
Worst they can say is no, or totally ignore you. But
that's awesome.
But that's a good story. But other indie comic creators, back in the day, I know Paul Pope is a guy I'm really happy I met at the very beginning of his career. And he did a lot of stuff with. Yeah, that's right. He's over there. He's a good guy. And I remember Negative Burn particularly. I go, hey Paul, I got room in a short story for this issue. Anything? How many pages do you have? I go, I don't know, 6. Okay, I have it to you in 2 days. Or how many pages do you? 5? Okay, here's another one. And so I was like, Paul was my go-to guy, and I just loved his energy. Not just in his work as well. His work always had energy to it. In the early days at Caliber, it was the David Max and the Prime businesses. We were all buddies and hanging out and stuff. But I still like the idea of going out and finding that new talent. Like a Mike Perkins, who was offered up to me, and Mike was raw at the time, but he had potential. And I brought him into Kilroy, and I brought him into Negative Burn and some other stuff at Caliber. And then to see him, when he went to CrossGen, he took such a gigantic leap working with those talented creators. And then now he's one of my favorite artists, in the business. I just think he's so super talented. So doing that and realizing I still have those relationships, this many years later is great. And the other part of me is like, I always enjoyed as a creator, as a fan, as a kid, here's the guys I loved, Brian Ballin or an Alan Moore, which I didn't really meet Alan Moore and stuff until, I was in college. But when I started getting back into comics, but people I grew up with, like a Jim Starlin.
Right.
And then sometimes realize today, Bernie Wrightson to say, hey, those guys are my friends now. It's kind of cool, I've stayed at the house, or I've stayed at Brian's house. He's got a 16th century house with a half a moat still left over from the centuries. Overlooking his village, like a manor, the lord of the castle here, little manor. But yeah, then realize sometimes that these are cool. I mean, I remember San Diego Comic-Con one time at the Hyatt where they used to hold the Eisners. They used to have a pool bar right outside on the second floor of the Hyatt where everybody would hang out. And I remember coming up one time behind the Hyatt and go up the stairs, and my younger brother John was with me, and it's the only time he's ever traveled to San Diego Comic-Con with me. And we're walking up, and then Bernie Wrightson's walking out the back door, and Bernie's a little inebriated. We'll just say that, okay? But he sees me, and he pulls his arm and goes, Joe, and comes and gives me this big, gorilla hug. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I can see my younger brother beside me, thinking this is, I was like, Bernie Wrightson knows me, and he's giving me a hug. This is kind of a fan moment from him.
Yeah.
The same show, it was funny because my brother John, again, who's the comic fan, but he doesn't really hang out and do anything in comics. And so he's walking by Dave Stevens' booth, who's like one of my favorite all-time creators as well. And never met Dave. Said, I'm not with him. And Dave looks at him and goes, you've got to be a Pruitt. I guess we all look alike,
Yes, I am, but why are you saying it like that, sir?
So, again, I thought that was kind of a cool moment. Dave's one of my favorite creators of all time, recognizing my brother who's never even met when I'm not even around.
That's awesome.
So this is cool. I'm actually in this industry now.
That is awesome. Bro, you got any more? Because I can talk all day. You know that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'm listening. It's really. I mean, that's really cool how you transitioned from being a rookie to getting a position where you can do stuff and facilitate, and then you have the realization that this is me, like the whole environment, these creators that you used to be on a pedestal. Now you're on that pedestal with them talking. That's got to be just one of the high points. Like I can't even imagine how cool that would be.
Yeah.
That's cool. I let myself think about it every once in a while. Portfolio Joe's back in the shell. Oh, cool. This is so cool. It's funny. I was watching TV last night, a little bit, kind of similar, but I was watching Battlestar Galactica reruns on Sci-Fi doing a marathon. And I'm realizing, you know what? Chief Aaron Douglas is like a really good friend of mine nowadays. And I was like, there's Grace Park. I met her, and Trish. I met her, and remember the other guy, Grace Park's boyfriend on the show.
Right.
It's a different name I can't think of. Like, wow. So basically, I kind of know 4 of those people. The show I used to love to watch before I met any of them. So at the same time, it's the same kind of moment for them. It's like, wow, this is kind of cool.
Absolutely.
I don't have a horrible life. It's interesting.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Celebrate that. Celebrate that.
But,
Now, in terms of any sort of insight for up and coming creators, and obviously I'm taking this onto myself, and I thank you. If you remember, last year's C2E2, you looked over some of my notes for a pitch that I did for Source Point Press, and gave me some.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I threw them out, right? No.
No. You totally gave me some. You gave me some amazing stuff where they actually asked if they could see more.
Okay.
But in terms of growing newer creators, what are some things that you want to see the next gen of creators being able to do before they get to you?
Well, obviously, know what a good story is. Don't give me a story that I've already seen. Don't give me a story. Oh, this is like Batman, but I'm not. This is kind of a joke, but it's also true. Don't give me a story of Batman saying, but difference, he's a cat.
Oh,
I've had that's the greatest picture I ever had in my entire life. I had Catman pitched to me.
Wow.
But unlike Bruce Wayne, he didn't win. He earned his millions. And it had like a timeline of like when he was age 18, he was the top Indy racer, Grand Prix racer in Europe. When he was 19, he was the top chef in Europe. When he was 20, and that was like, this guy's done everything by the time he's 25 years old, and is always the best at it. And he's made his own millions. Except he was a cat.
Right.
He was a cat person.
Because that's what came through the window when he was sitting there brooding about his parents.
I used to take this, and went back in the early days. Yeah, exactly. Back in the early days, we were like groups of us that traveled together to cons and stuff. We'd like be at the Atlanta airport together. We would actually bring it out and do readings.
Wow.
It just laughed. It was so funny. I wish I knew what I did with that. I probably have it in my attic somewhere.
That's amazing.
But as far as the new creators, yeah, think of something fresh. You know, don't try to be somebody different.
Mm-hmm.
Try to be yourself. You know, write what you know or what you've learned. You know, like for instance, you want to see a sci-fi story from me because I'm not a scientist. I'm not that type of brain.
Right.
I can't. I don't think do a plausible sci-fi story where I can explain everything. I don't talk technical, so I don't try it. You know?
Gotcha. Know your strengths. That's
yeah, exactly. I started doing Black Eyed Kids, the first horror book I ever did. But you know, I do have 6 kids, so I have a lot of inspiration. But no, I tried. I like doing horror books. I said, well, this is actually fun to do, and I have a lot of I'm a happy person. I have a lot of creepy thoughts I could think of. You know, I'm sitting there writing Black Eyed Kids, and my back door here is like all glass. And I'm sitting here at 2 o'clock in the morning writing on my couch. I'm thinking, what's right there at that door right now? Wouldn't that be spooky? Me write that down. You know?
Yes. No. At that hour, those are the last thoughts that I want to have because those are the things that I'll go to bed with. Like, is there someone out there behind me right now?
Well, this is a true story too. While I was doing the series, I was in a hotel room, and I had my 2 sons with me. So I'm in one bed and the other 2, and I don't know what time of night it was, and I'm thinking I'm awake. Okay, and wasn't I? I don't know, but I'm sitting there and I'm kind of like facing, you know, my kids' beds are here, and then the bathrooms over down there, towards the front door, and I swore I saw one of my kids get up out of bed, walk over to the closet, look into the closet, and then go into the bathroom. All right, and I sat there and I waited, and I waited and said, well, what's taking them so long? So I stood up, and as I'm passing the front bed to go check on them. I sent him the bed goes, what are you doing? And I looked over, and it's the son I thought was in the bathroom.
Whoa.
And I went, what? Did you just go to the bathroom? I go, no, I haven't. I go, did Michael? No. I go, all right. So I walk over and I kind of like push the door open. Like, what the heck did I just see then? You know, I saw somebody walk and look into the closet. They go in the bathroom and never saw him come out again. So I'm like, was I dreaming that? Because a lot of times when I go to bed, I start thinking of stories.
Right.
So maybe I'm thinking about this and it's like a subconscious thing. Or did I actually, it freaked me out. I was like, well, but I wrote it down and I used it later.
Yeah. I was going to say, if something happens to you like that, you go, man, that was terrible.
But you would think I would be totally freaked out. But my idea is like, oh, that's a cool story.
That's a good story. That's why the devil doesn't like you. He's like, I'm trying to scare Joe, and he just writes it down. Like, come on.
I was in Denver Comic-Con a few years ago, and I was right in the last issue. Not Comic-Con, sorry. I was in Denver visiting when I was doing my store tours. And I'm writing Black Eyed Kids 15. I'm towards the end of it. The last issue has been out so far. And so I am going to the Shining Hotel, which is about 45 minutes outside of Denver.
Yeah, no.
And I sit in the hotel with my laptop and finish the story. I said, this is inspiration.
Wow.
Finish the story. So that was
you
cool.
sir tempt fate on that one. I don't listen. Now I'm going to see twins in my house, and it's going to be your fault. It's just going to be
and they'll have black eyes
right now.
Exactly. See, here it comes right there.
No,
my daughter's gonna, hey daddy, hi daddy, and I'm like, why is there 2 of you now?
I wrote this story in Shock Volume 2 recently. It's a short story called The Children's Playground. I don't know if you guys saw it or not.
I haven't seen that one yet.
But one thing, I'm in a horror kick right now, so I'm turning so I go through and say, what's the scariest places in different states? And I saw one, Alabama, was something called The Children's Playground. And what it is, it's like the largest, maybe, I don't know, it's older, the largest graveyard site in Alabama is in Huntsville, Alabama. And apparently they have a playground for kids in the graveyard itself, because I guess back in the day they built it so kids could play there, and the parents can go, mourn their loved ones and stuff like that, or visits. But apparently it's haunted. And
really,
legend has it that there some kids were found murdered right outside the playground decades ago. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just how the legend has it. But again, you go there, the swing is supposed to swing by themselves. You might hear children's voices, laughing, or you might see light orbs and stuff like that. Correct. So I go there, and Sarah, my daughter, who you probably met at shows with me, we both kind of like this stuff. I said, well, I'm gonna write this story, and it was originally gonna be for Sam Keith, but it ended up being Simon Krudansky. And I said, I think I'm gonna go over there and check it out and take pictures so I can get a feel for it and send reference photos to the artist.
Right.
And so it's like a Sunday afternoon. I said, you go with me? It's like 3 hours away. She goes, oh yeah, I'll go. And so we drove over hot in the car, drove over to Huntsville. Got there, I don't know, 5-ish or something like that. And this place was so big, I couldn't find the graveyard. And we were looking on Google Maps, trying to figure out, does it show where the playground is in the graveyard? And no, we couldn't find it. And I'm looking at some photos, like, well, it looks like there's like a wall behind it here. There's trees, and there's a picnic pavilion. Let's try to find a picnic pavilion somewhere. And we couldn't find it. We drove around for about an hour. About this time, now it's total darkness.
Nope.
And I go by, there's at the very edge of the graveyard, we notice there's like a stone wall, and it's all just woods behind it. There's like a little opening and a little doorway to walk through, where they have like a trash can set up. I go, I wonder if it's back there. And she goes, well, you can go look. I park the car, and I get out and I walk it. It's like pitch dark. It's all I have is my iPhone, which has like almost no light. And I'm walking through it. I can't see a foot in front of me. And the next thing I know, I come up, and there's a picnic. And I was like, oh, okay. And then since she calls me, goes, you find it? And I'm like, yeah, I think I might have. I use my light, and I look. There's like a little stairway that I can see going down. And again, that's what shows them online. Stairway going down into the, and I can see, well, I can't really see the playground yet, but this is it, right? And so she comes up, follows me up. We walk down there. So there's a swing set, and there's a slide, a jungle jump thing, which is a newer thing. And I've got pictures I can show you guys. It's on my phone here, but it's really cool. There's a full moon that you can see up in the sky through the trees, and it's total pitch darkness. And I said, well, let's take some pictures. So what you get on the swing and pose for me. And so she's doing that, and then I said, well, let me get on top of the jungle gym so I can get a different angle looking down towards it. You get a different angle here. So she's on it, and all of a sudden I go, I'm taking a picture. I go, click, and before I see the picture, I go, well, that was weird. And she's down there, goes, what was weird? Mm-hmm. I go, don't worry about it. I said, let me take another one. She goes, what was weird? I said, well, hold on a minute, let me take another one. I click, okay, one more. Okay, click, because what was weird, Dad? And I said, well, let me show you. And I walked over to her, and I showed her. I said, again, before I even saw the photo, when I was taking the photo, you hit your phone, and you see it like this, What I saw it was like a light go click, click, like that across the screen. But I didn't see it with my naked eye. But when the photo came out, I saw like a little light orb in the photo right there next to her. And she tells me later, because when I said that was weird, she says the swing next to her did this, moved slightly, and there wasn't a wind. And so I said, okay, I want you to take some pictures of me now. So I go, and I'm sitting on the swing, and I'm posing because I know how the story's going to be. So I'm posing like the character. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, okay, kids, I'm right here. I'm on the swing. I'm all by myself. There's plenty of seats if you want to come join me. And she's like, shut.
Yeah, that's no. So based on that story specifically, never going to Alabama as a whole state. I'm just going to go ahead and nix that off of the list. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
But I did a short story. Go read it. It's good.
Yeah, Shock. Oh my god, the Shock series is amazing unto itself. But I hadn't seen the second volume. Now I gotta.
Yeah, I think the second volume is actually better than the first volume, and I like the first volume.
Yeah, yeah, the first volume is amazing.
I think it's pretty great.
Okay, okay.
And my story's but
that's terrifying. Yeah, that's got a little.
Road trip.
No.
We're trying to find more place to go to because both of us like to do that. We went to Long Island and not Long Island, Long Beach, and the Queen Mary's docked there, and we're supposed to be one of the most haunted places in the world. It's a hotel now too. I've actually stayed in the Queen Mary for 3 or 4 nights before.
Wow.
And there's one room there that was so haunted they had shut it down. They weren't renting out anymore. So many disturbances. So I remember being there the first time I went, like at 2 in the morning by myself. Gary was with me. We went there doing Hollywood things. So Gary and my sister with it. They were in their rooms, and I was like, "Well, I'm awake. Where's this room at? Let me go find it." You know. So I find out it's like a floor below me. So I go down to it, and I walk up and said, "And if you go to ever go to a cruise ship, which I've never done besides here, you go down the long aisles, and then like they have little offshoot corridors where you go down it briefly, and there's like a room here and a room here."
Right.
And it's like a light in the little corridor. So I find it, and of course, they got the ambiance going. There's no light, so it's total darkness. And I walk up to the door, and I'm like, I wonder if it's locked. I mean, I'm thinking, well, man, I'm going to see if it's locked. And I'm like, I get the door down, and I sweep like that. Okay, good, it's closed. It's locked. So I had to try. I just say I did. I was right there in front of it, but I was hoping it was locked the whole time. But now they actually
where you reach for it and it opens on its own. You go, and I'm dead. Like
yeah, exactly right.
It got me. Like I said,
come in. But Sarah and I went to Long Beach Comic-Con, not this year, but the year before, and we went the ghost tour, and we walked by that room. They actually now have that room open. They've redone it, and they now rent it out. Wow. But it's like a 6-month waiting list to get in.
Wow.
Because people like to go stay in creepy places.
No.
Would I do? I don't know.
No. Yeah, black people don't do that. It's like a rule.
Black lives matter, about it. Right? Black lives matter.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like Jordan Peele, he's almost kicked out because he keeps doing this whole scary thing. And we're like, bro, we don't do that. Like, what do you think? It's another thing.
Yeah, but he's cashing those checks though. So I guess
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, no. No,
it's intriguing to me. I like to stuff like that.
That's amazing. I mean, I love scary movies, but what you're doing, no, that's no. Yeah, because black guys first or worst. Those are the rules. So there's no way. Like
next time I come to Columbus, we're gonna find a place to go hang out and do that. So
yeah, no.
I'm already working up the list in my head, Victor. We're taking this show on the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say
we'll get Jessica to go with us. Yeah.
Although no, this is how he would get me. He'd be like, "Hey Vic, there's a special book that I've done. It's an exclusive, but I've hidden it in one of the scariest places on earth.
That's right.
Do you read dangerously or don't you?" And I'm like,
"Oh, that's right. You gotta do that. That'd be fun. I'll do the research for you, and I'll find a place for us."
There we go. Thank you. Make sure that there's tears to it though. Like there's I'm gonna weep and I'm gonna cry, and then there's I'm a hardcore guy. We'll start at the bottom.
Yeah, the dungeon, right? That's a good place to start.
What? No.
Yeah, the dungeon, the murder room.
I can see. No, it's all getting dark in here already.
Why is it all red in here? Why is it all red? Why is there no lock from the inside?
Right. See that? Creepy.
I saw in Zulu a couple of years ago. The Interville Horror House was up for sale.
Wow.
And so I went to my parents. Hey guys, I found some new house.
Who would buy that house? Like, what does that say about you? Can you imagine being that like spouse where your significant other comes home and goes, "Check this out. Guess what?
Deal I got."
Yeah, Stace was glad PNC turned me down for the mortgage.
You could also go to the Lizzie Borden bread and breakfast, where she murdered her parents. That's true. It's a bed and breakfast. So you can go to stay.
Why are y'all shaking your heads with knowledge? This is terrible.
Like, it's a bucket list, buddy. Bucket list.
Wow. All right. Okay. If I'm gonna be a bear, gotta be a grizzly. I got you. I'm with you. That's amazing. Now, you guys just made an announcement for a new series coming up.
Yes, we did. Hold on a second. Let me check this out. I'm sorry. I'm just brain fried right now. I can't think of what announcement we made.
I understand that.
Do you remember?
It's Miles to Go.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Phillips, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be out in a few miles.
Yeah,
I mean months.
both. That's awesome.
Yeah, Stephanie is an up and comer, a new voice. I think who has a distinct voice, and a very intelligent writer as well. So this will be
Nice.
her fourth book with us, I think, third, fourth book. So yeah, we're excited about it, and we like working with her. And she's a person we want to see grow with us.
That's very cool. Very, very cool. Can you tell us any things that's not in this little write up about it? Anything that
That'd be more of a Mike Martz question because he's the editor on it.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll bother him later.
I try to catch up, but I'm not always at the beginning line. The beginning starting line with projects. He reads the scripts as they come in. I don't. So when they start getting, that's when I see them.
Got you.
I see the initial pitch, obviously.
Right.
But as far until they're developed, I don't really see them that much.
I mean, that's a king status right there. You're like, look, the early stuff you guys handle, it's ready for me. Then you bring it to me. I'm the final boss.
Yeah, I focus a lot more like dealing with the retailers and Diamond and dealing with special projects like the Shock anthologies or the oversized French album original graphic novels we were doing. That's all stuff I was doing, and a couple more things like doing the one shots in the fall with the creators who are not working right now. That's something I'll spearhead and put through.
Nice. On a family dynamic, do you and your brother have any sort of ribbings in terms of which publisher rules the roost?
Why would we? I win.
I mean, obviously. I mean, like, are you lording that over him? Like, do you? Like,
no.
Aftershock? Is that what you're looking for?
No. I think what they're doing at Scout is a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of Caliber back in the day. Mm-hmm. Is like you start being a place where again you start your career and get recognition and maybe get recognized with the bigger companies and stuff like that. So and that's in both of our bloods, and so he's enjoying doing that right now. I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing, working with not only the newcomers but having the means to work with people I admire or people I can recruit from elsewhere.
That's
so
awesome.
It's like we talk every day, and we I'll run things by him. What do you think about this? And he'll run things by me. So it's not so much a rivalry; it's more of a it's a twin thing.
Right.
It's like Caliber. He was a managing editor. I was a creative director. We were co-number twos. We weren't one or the other over each other. That was kind of the deal I made. Because he went to Caliber first. Gary tried to get me up to two different times, and I just didn't want to make the move to Michigan. And then he took one of the jobs, and so when I finally called Gary, my wife came home after I had my first baby after the first year, and she was a microbiologist making a pretty good living, and letting me be a bum, being a writer. And she came home and goes, I feel like I'm missing my child grow up. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, well, okay, but I'm gonna take a job I want, which means we'll probably have to relocate. So I called Gary up and said, okay, I'll take a job now. And he's, oh, okay, fine. He said, yeah, but one condition: Jim can never be my boss. So okay, done. So but we had offices right next to each other. I think we only really got in one bad argument, and they'll being brothers and twins. While I was there, but that was it. But Gary was also a twin, so he also knew the dynamic. So it was I would say that year at Caliber, I was only there for one full year at Caliber, and then the distribution wars happened and killed all of us. That was probably the funnest year I've had in the business. It was a lot of fun.
I can imagine that.
Because again, I was young enough to still have that energy and that drive. Not saying I don't have that now, but like just this constant. That's all I wanted to do every day. And because I would work full time at Cal, and then go home, I would be writing 3 or 4 comics. I was writing 3 series at Image.
Nice.
And I was writing Curoy. I was putting Negaburn together. I was writing the Untouchables, what we did at Caliber, and whatever else. So I had so much energy all the time to work. So that was a lot of fun. I miss it.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And maybe one day me and Jim can work together again, as long as I'm the boss. So,
I mean, you're proving your worth right now. So
Yeah.
I'm calling at a pitch. I like it. I like it a lot. That's awesome. So my last question of this mix is, what do you see as things have happened and changed? Are we on the cusp of a new distribution war setup? And what is Aftershock's plan to move forward through that?
well, that's interesting questions. I had this conversation with Jim today, actually. I don't know. It's too early to really see. I think we're in a wait and see attitude. We're not rushing out to join any of the distributors at the moment. Diamond, for the most part, has been really good to us most of the time, and have helped us out a lot. And given us some tender, loving care. So we're not in a rush to abandon them by any means. So yeah, we're not jumping on the DC bandwagon. We're not jumping on a couple other startups I've heard about. And again,
Right.
at the end of the day, though, when this all comes out, are we going to still be a one distribution network company or industry? I don't know.
Right.
I think we see the disadvantage of having one distributor basically for comics, because once one's down, we're all down.
We're done. Right.
It's just trying times. We're all just trying to adapt on the fly. So nobody knows what's happening right now. So we're not going to rush out and make any quick decisions. And if this drags on for several months, and then of course then we might reconsider things. But right now it's status quo, and just hopefully we all get out this together, and we get out together before too long.
Absolutely. I think that level-headedness is absolutely a testament to why Aftershock has had such a growing success. And I think it's one of our definite fan favorite publishing imprints that kind of, land, and almost everything that we've read, we've adored. So
Great.
that's
Thanks.
exactly why.
Yeah, it's been one that at my shop, we can just so easily suggest any of the Aftershock books. Like we can tell, like, this person, this guest is into this genre, and just kind of slide them over a number one with confidence, and they enjoy it.
Did I send you guys? I did. We did. I call it Repel Support Box. So what we did was we took five copies of issue ones. I think I did like 100 to 110 first issues. So it'll be 20 to 25 different first issues. Send them in a big Aftershock box to a retailer and say, "Well, I want you to do with these. This is if you know somebody who's a horror fan, give them a Baby Teeth #1. If you know somebody you think might like this bit and try it out, which is a sci-fi fan. Here's 5 issues of a copy of Replica #1 or whatever it happened to be." And did we send that box to you?
Yeah, we set up an end cap right near the register with take one, and people. It translated to trade paperback series. That's
the hope, is that maybe they'll translate to trade paperback sales for you, or there'll be the few who buy the back issues. But the idea was to get people interested in the trades that might just be sitting on your shelf still.
Yeah,
and make you want to order more too, so we make more money too.
Great.
Yeah. when things are going well, it's a symbiotic relationship where good books come out, we sell more books. It just works, and it's one that really is a joy. Because there are times that I look at a book and it's selling a certain amount, and I'm like, why are we selling so many copies? And with Aftershock, it's one where I don't know. It's just really cool to be able to indie music versus pop music, and I don't know if that clears it up.
Yeah. Because I mean, the thing is, like, there are other publishers that we very much so know are producing work as a means of having a market share foothold as opposed to quality. And even those titles that you're saying that, okay, maybe it wasn't the right time, or if we went back to it now, it would have a different reception. Right. None of it was ever the notion of you just put out something to put out something. It was, no, I think this is good. Okay, maybe we were just too ahead of the curve or something like that. You guys have constantly put out consistent quality books, and it's great. Like it's one of the things, like Ryan said, it makes it easier to speak with confidence of the greatness of the imprint. And it's the range. Like, it's not even just like, hey, just read this one guy's stuff from this imprint. We can say it about the entire library, and that's fantastic.
But I think one reason that this case is because we're not a hive mind. when we do our career calls, there's 3 of us who actually get to vote, and then some people who get give their comments. We never ever always agree on something. If we have an animosity,
right?
Yeah, that's done. We know that's a home run right away. We knew that. But generally it's like because we will debate each project comes in. So I mean, I might like something that say Lee and Mike may not like, and vice versa. But I've had where something I said, well, this is a no to me, but then when they gave their opinion of it and they convinced me, okay, well, you know what? You talked me into it. I think you might be right.
Right.
And, so there's been things that I was saying wouldn't work, it actually did work, and vice versa for the other guys too. But I don't think we just publish to publish.
Right.
Right. So, and I'm probably the toughest one to get through in the group. I would say I'm probably 9% no, unless somebody talks me out of it. But and most of the reason I would think sometimes is like, well, I don't know if I could sell this.
Right.
It's a good idea, but can I sell it?
Right.
So, but again, they talk me out of stuff, and I talk them into stuff. So I think it's because we debate each title is actually it makes it a better product.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I think that's absolutely it, because you don't allow anyone, not the editorial staff or the creative teams, to rest on their laurels. They're not coming in saying, well, I am Paul Jenkins, so I should just get to, and you're like, no, if it's not slapping, we're not doing it, man. Like,
we've turned down, A-list people projects before.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's something inspiring.
Not to them, I wasn't.
No, whatever. They got to learn, man. They got to, come on, bring your A game or go home. It's called Aftershocks, son. But we want the A game. We don't want that little, I'm just going to put this out for it. No, Aftershock forever. It was definitely awesome. Very, very cool. And that was the last of my questions. I'll be quiet now.
That covers a lot. I mean, you were asking a lot of the questions I was going to ask. So
it's symbiosis.
Quit stealing his thunder.
I know. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That's like one of the amazing things about Vic is his ability to create conversation. I'm sounding stupid. I apologize, Joe.
No, that sounds good.
Stop that.
The best thing about Vic, though, is that he's not afraid to go haunted houses with me.
Yeah, there's a haunted graveyard out.
I just felt my entire underwear just tighten.
I'm looking at you right now, Vic.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? For you, Joe, I would do it. I would actually do it. I would do a reading of Black Eyed Kids, and I would run as soon as I'm done. Yeah.
What's interesting, there's like a place right next door to me. It's a state park called Pickett's Mill State Park, which was a big Civil War battlefield. And it's, basically it's just across the street.
Right.
A mile away. And I didn't realize I used to go hiking. There's a hiking trail. It's pretty challenging hiking trail there. And I was reading the other day about Georgia haunted places, trying to find some place local to go do. And that came up. I was like, what? And it's like, yeah, Civil War, Confederate soldiers like sometimes seen in the woods and stuff. I was like, oh, well, shoot, I go there all the time. I got to start looking for it. But no, it closed. It's not open at night. Yeah, it's like, Vic, come on down, buddy.
You know what? I would be willing to do it. I mean, that as long as my family knows to put that on my epitaph, just I died hanging out with Joe Pruitt. That's cool. I think that works.
I almost killed Garth Ennis and John McCrae one time. So
go on.
This was like 22 years ago, 23 years ago, what it was. They were here in town, and we were driving in my car, and my car had a blowout in the interstate. The tire went. And I was like, and pulled inside the road, and I was like, hey, I almost killed you guys.
Wow.
That could have been my legacy.
Right. That's insane. Well, I will thank you tremendously for your time and your candor. This was fantastic.
That's a lot of fun.
I learned a tremendous amount with this convo. Absolutely.
I have almost no knowledge to share.
You have all the knowledge. Like literally, there's a book of knowledge that lives in you, and you just gave us the wealth. It was fantastic. Thank you
very much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna write that now.
Okay. give me a letters page. That's all I'm asking. Just a shout on the letters page.
I was trying to pitch some new projects today. I'm gonna call one. We're all doomed. I'm gonna do another one called "I'll Eat That."
Oh, Jeremy can help you write that one, because let me tell you some of the crazy stuff that they put out in front of us. Listen, we did an episode where these two jokers made like instant mac and cheese, but with non-regular things like
Okay.
chocolate milk or strawberry milk. Right? Exactly.
Okay. I wouldn't eat that.
Ranch dressing. It's
Yes, and ranch dressing.
Nah, I wouldn't eat that either.
Yeah. So there you go. I would eat that. These are the guys that you need to speak to.
And actually, I probably just lost my appetite for the rest of the night. So I won't eat anything tonight. No,
We'll
thanks
make-
for you guys.
We'll make sure to
My
send
stomach
him
thanks you. You know.
when Victor does the hot dog pie that we discussed
Stop it.
last time.
Stop it.
we'll-
Stop it. That's all the best. Exactly. Exactly. That's me every Tuesday, man. Every time they bring up the food stuff. Not